Hey, good morning, everyone. It's okay, I'm going to hand this to the rabbi in a minute. Good morning, guys. This morning we are privileged to hear from a Rav that I've got to know the last couple of years. The last few years, I run a summer program which travels through Phoenix, Arizona, and I've got to know Rabbi Ariel Shoshan from the shul that he has founded and he leads. And you can see a lot about a Rav, guys. You can see a lot about a Rav by the shul that he leads. It is warm. It's passionate, it's inspirational. People there not only do the Yiddishkeit, but they celebrate the Yiddishkeit. And when I found out earlier this week Rabbi Shoshan's coming to speak to us, I was very excited because he brings warmth and passion and inspiration with him. And it's a privilege for us too to hear from Rabbi Shoshan. Please.
Rabbi, as I came in here this morning, just into this room, I saw the photographers, and I saw the tip-off circle of a basketball court, only half of it, and I saw the rock band, and I felt like I was at some kind of club meeting, but the clubs were fighting for the space. Different clubs, different spaces, and now I'm standing here. And even though the room is from here to here, I feel like I'm frozen because the camera's right here. So I have to stay right where we are. Otherwise, one thing I felt right away is that I wish I could get to know you better quickly. I look out at people who I feel like I went to high school kind of like this. You just look like guys I'd like to hang out with. I may not look like a guy you want to hang out with. I can imagine that. But you look like guys I want to hang out with. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Birshus, the Rabbeim, the Menahel. Very happy to be here. I want to fast forward to next month because Purim is right around the corner. And if we had more time, I would like to explore even that everything I'm going to say has to do with Adar Rishon also, and Purim Katan, which is next week. There's already that ruach here of the opportunity that the Zman presents. A whole talk we could have about something that I imagine you already know, which is that time in the Jewish calendar does not work like a line. We don't experience something here and then it's behind us and it's all the way down there. Time is in a circle, it's in a cycle, so that we come back into the Zman. Just like in the winter weather, the weather is a physical return to where we were last year, and the sunrise and sunset is the same. So too in the spiritual, we come back into the Zman, we come back into the opportunity that's going on. And there's a huge opportunity in the realm of Purim that I'm sure you'll explore in many ways over the next few weeks. There's a very famous Gemara. The Gemara in Shabbos Peiches says that when Klal Yisrael came to Har Sinai, it says, Vayisiatzu b'sachtis ahar, that they were there at the bottom of the mountain. Tachtis sounds like it means actually even under the mountain. So the Gemara records one opinion that says, when they arrived at Har Sinai, Kafa HaKadosh Baruch Hu aleim hahar kegigis. HaShem picked up the mountain and placed it over their heads like a gigis. Have you heard that before? You heard that idea before. They were forced to keep the Torah. So question for you, my friends. What's a gigis? He put it over their heads like a gigis. What is it?
A barrel.
A barrel. Very good. Like a barrel where we make alcohol. That's what Rashi says. Excellent. He's jealous that you nailed it so quick. He was like, I wanted to know that Rashi. Boom. So I got a question for you, everybody say. Well, let's continue the Gemara first. He picked up the mountain over their heads like a barrel, and essentially saying, if you don't take it, here will be your burial place. So then another opinion of the Gemara says, if that's the case, Mikan Modar Abel Araisa, if that's the case, then we were forced, then I don't have to keep the Torah. Then we have an out clause. You have rules here. You forced me to keep the rules. I don't want to keep the rules. I can't be punished for what I did wrong. And the Gemara responds and says, no. says, Hadar kiblu b'mei Achashverosh. In the time of Achashverosh, they accepted upon themselves the Torah again. And Rashi there says, out of the love of the miracle. So I have 3 questions. Question number 1. Usually when you offer a metaphor or a simile, you're going to say something that is like overwhelming. He was screaming at me like a rabid dog. Okay, well, he's not as scary as the rabid dog. HaKadosh Baruch Hu picked up the mountain and held it over their heads like a barrel. Wouldn't it make more sense if it said, Hashem held the mountain over their heads like a mountain? Meaning, what's so scary about a barrel? There's actually a diminished element of what's frightening. The mountain is over Klal Yisrael. It was over them like a barrel. Makes no sense. Let it be over them like a mountain. Second question is Tosfos' question. Didn't we say Nasa v'nishma? We just read it last week's parsha. We took the Torah out of free will. So how is it that the Gemara implies that we were not free to take the Torah? We were forced. And the third question is, what kind of answer is that they accepted it again in the time of Achashverosh 900 years later? 900 years is a long time between accepting something and then saying, well, you had an out clause, but 900 years later you no longer have an out clause. Wasn't Klal Yisrael punished many times in between? Isn't the whole book of Shoftim about not following the rules, and then there's an enemy that comes in and then you follow the rules again? Were they free for 900 years? Like if I said to you, there are rules, but you were forced, but 9 years later, you accepted it out of free will. You would say, so why'd you punish me, Dad, in year 2? So 3 questions again. Number 1, it would seem to me that the mountain is scarier than the barrel. Number 2, didn't we say Nasa v'nishma? And number 3, what kind of answer is that 900 years later? Anybody have any questions so far? Comments, interruptions, anything bothering you? Feel free at any time. You're so well behaved. Are they always this well behaved? No. Not always. Always. Machloikas. I think the answer to our questions, Rabbi Yisai, speaks about why Purim, in many ways, is the most important yontif of the year. Most important yontif of the year. In fact, the Gemara has a machlokas whether or not Purim should be in the first month or the second month of Adar. And it presents rationales for each. Ultimately, the conclusion of the Gemara is that it has to be in the second month because of smichas geula legeula. That we're masamach geula geula adif, that to bring the two geulas together. Who knows what word is quote unquote missing from the Megillah? Hashem's name, very good. And what word is almost completely missing from the Haggadah? Moshe's name. Very good. Moshe is mentioned only one tangential time. Vayaminu b'Hashem of Moshe Avdo. So I think there's a relationship between Hashem's name missing in the Megillah and Moshe Rabbeinu's name missing in the Haggadah. Because between the two, we learn about all the ways that Hashem takes care of Klal Yisrael. There's the great revelation of Mitzrayim, and in the great revelation of Mitzrayim, we don't need to talk about who the secondary characters are, like even Moshe Rabbeinu is secondary. But as you know, the great secret of the Megillah is that even when we don't see Hashem, He's the one behind it all. I want to explore this idea. Rav Shimon Schwab says that there's a reason that the Gemara uses the term gigis, a barrel. And Rashi explains it as something that we make inside of it beer or some other intoxicating drink. I hope that nobody here has recently been drunk. Maybe the Rabbeim, I'm not sure. I doubt it. But a person who's been drunk knows that it's a completely different state than later when I'm sober again. And in fact, if I would be drunk and I would accept upon myself to do certain things because I was fully conscious within my drunkenness. I said, I'm going to finish all of Shas by next week when I was drunk. It's not really binding on me once I sober up. You were totally different. Now you're back to normal. Klal Yisrael, my friends, came to Har Sinai, so to speak, in a state of drunkenness. I don't mean they were actually drunk. What I mean is that they were so connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam, so clear of his miracles, that they may have had free choice, but they had no free choice. Meaning technically they had free will. I could take it, I could not take it. But practically they had no free will. It was such a no-brainer. They had just come through the Yam, seen all the miracles. They were filled with wealth that Hashem had given them. They saw the Ananei HaKavod. They saw the pillar of flame move to the other side, the pillar of cloud come to one side. You can't say no. The Ribbono Shel Olam says to you, do you want the Torah? And they say, Nasa v'nishma. And that's all beautiful. Because it was like they were drunk on Gilui Shechina, on total revelation. Hashem was clear to all of them. And this continued in the Midbar with man and with water and with Ananei HaKavod, and it continued in Eretz Yisrael. They went to Yerushalayim. All the men left. They left women and children back, but the enemy never attacked. They could see miracle after miracle in the Beis HaMikdash. Undoubtedly, many of you know the word of Pirkei Avos. That when they were in the Beis HaMikdash, it was so tight they were standing shoulder to shoulder, person to person. When it came time to bow down, which is full prostration on the ground, there was room for everybody. Omdim svuvim mishtachavim revachim, an open miracle. Open miracles were part of their everyday life. There were neviim. We face a terrible moment now in the history of Klal Yisrael, great danger to so many of our brothers and sisters. We don't have the Navi to ask. We don't have the Urim and Tumim to ask. But they had it. For 900 years, all the way through Churban Bayis Rishon, Klal Yisrael was in the same state, basically they were at as Har Sinai. They could see it all. They were close to Hashem. But then, Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Nevi'im went away. No more open miracles. So much that the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that Klal Yisrael questioned whether Hashem cared for them at all. Klal Yisrael questioned whether we're still in a relationship. They said, if a woman is divorced by her husband, does she any longer have any responsibilities to him? If a slave is sent out by his master, does he any longer have any responsibilities to him? I want you to imagine, Rabbi Isai, as well as you can, what it's like to live, let's say, until your life right now, with a Beis HaMikdash, with Aliyah L'Regel, with Karban Pesach, with Nevi'im, with Urim V'Tumim, with people like Moshe Rabbeinu. And then, it's all wiped out. You're exiled into Bavel. Many of the greatest leaders are killed, others leave in shackles. There's no Navi. You know what there is? There's only one thing that they had going for them. A promise that in 70 years you'll be redeemed. In 70 years, everything is going to be okay. But now they had an even bigger problem. According to their calculation, the 70 years had elapsed. Maybe some of you know the whole party at the beginning of the Megillah, Achashverosh's party, is all to celebrate the 70 years have elapsed. The Jewish people are not going to be taken back by Hashem. And they thought, we blew it. Yirmiyahu warned us, all the Nevi'im warned us, you got to get better or it's going to be wiped out. We blew it, we're wiped out. They had heard this story before. At the time of the Meraglim, at the time of the Chet HaEgel. But Moshe Rabbeinu was there to daven for them. Now there's no Moshe Rabbeinu. We blew it. We're out. You can imagine, it's a terrible national feeling. And then the worst thing happens. 70 years have elapsed. We thought we would be redeemed. They miscalculated the years. And now there's an international decree to destroy all the Jewish people on one day. Total wipeout. Total disaster. And they said, we didn't accept the Torah under these conditions. We accepted the Torah when we had all this clarity, when we were like the drunk people, drunk on nisim v'niflos. But now we're not in. We're not in. Until a miracle happened. Can anybody describe to me, go ahead, you can open your mouths as you wish. Can anybody describe to me the miracle of Purim? Okay, let's start over. Can anybody describe to me the miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf?
Splitting of the sea.
Water moved from one side to the other, and what happened? Dry land emerged.
Yeah.
And we walked through, and the other guys died in the sea. Very easy to describe that miracle, right? Now let's go back to Purim. Who's going to describe to me the Purim miracle? Are you Jewish?
Haman said that the Jews needed to be killed, but then
It wasn't a miracle. It was a bunch of miracles.
it's true.
There was no clear miracle.
Okay, I hope you can feel how delicious this moment is. This moment has so much potential to impact our lives. It's so spectacular, I'm flying. Rabbi Isai, every one of us right now is living in a miracle. Give me back your awesome attention I had before. Everybody here is living in an awesome miracle. The unfathomable miracle of how the Ribono Shel Olam is watching over Klal Yisrael thousands of years since Churban Bayis. 8,000 miles, or now we're on the East Coast, 6,000 miles away from home. HASHEM is protecting us. We're learning the Torah from our Rabbeim. We're performing the mitzvos. The Ribono Shel Olam has shown a miracle of miracles that the Jewish people still exists. And not just exists, but thrives and represents to the whole world what a nation can be and what a community can be and and who we are. It's an unbelievable miracle, but it's not an open miracle. It's not like Kriyas Yamsuf. It's not like water turning to blood. The miracle of Purim was a great miracle, but it's not open. The miracle of Purim is Bavel has to move to Paras. Why? Because this is Midrashim, because there's a throne over there that we need to go and have our throne. So we move to Shoshan, the seat of the kingdom. And by the way, it happens to be that Mordechai is over there. And Vashti, whatever happens to her, doesn't work out. She needs to be replaced. And a terrible thing happens, which is that Esther is chosen. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It's terrible news that a Jewish girl is stuck in the kingdom. And many years pass, and nobody knows why Esther's there. And by the way, fast forward, after the guy plots to kill us, on the night that he's going to go kill our leader, he's already prepared the tall place to hang him from. On that night, the king can't sleep. And on that night, the king wonders why I can't sleep. Who wants to save me? What's going on with me? Who have I not taken care of? What are they plotting for with his meals with Esther and Haman? And on the night that he can't sleep, just as Haman's coming in, he says, "Oh, you're here? What should I do with the guy I want to honor?" I would love this scene. I always imagine there's a line we don't always realize. What should I do with the guy? Oh, you should do this. Give him the horse and the clothing and everything like that. Oh, yeah, you should go out and take him. Go do that to Mordechai the Jew. Can you imagine that? The line we don't see is, then Achashverosh says to Haman, "Oh, by the way, why did you come? What brought you here?" Don't worry about it, king. The true answer is, I wanted to kill the guy you want me to go now honor, but he doesn't say anything about it. And layer after layer after layer of miracle happens to Klal Yisrael, but none of it is obvious. It can be compared to a king who has to send his son away. A king says to his son, "You got to get out of here. You're not behaving nicely." So he sends his son away, and the son doesn't know how to fend for himself because he was always the prince in the kingdom. He never had to prepare his own food. He never had to earn a living. He never had to find a place to sleep. He's in this place. He has no place to sleep. But he sees a sign, and the sign says, "Room for rent." You can available if you work for us. He says, that's a good idea. He goes and he gets a job and he has a place to sleep. But now it's getting cold in that place and he's cold and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't even know how to buy a coat. But as he's walking through the park one day, there's a coat sitting there and it says Hefker. It says free, anybody could take it. And he takes it off the tree, puts it on, and it's all warm for him, and it seems pretty new. And he doesn't like that job, but he finds another place to live. Everything he needs is an ad in the paper when he needs something else. And all the time he's thinking, I can't believe my father. He should let me back home. It's not fair what he's doing to me. Why am I here fending for myself? I had to find the job, and I had to find the bed, and I had to find the coat. Finally, he realizes he has to go back to his father and apologize for what happens. And he apologizes, and the father says, you can come home. He says, but Dad, listen, King, Your Majesty, I'm coming home, but do you know what you did to me? You left me all alone. I was all alone. It was so terrible there. I had to find my own coat. I had to find my own bed. I had to find my own job. So the father says to him, really? And was the job at that house where there was an available bed? And was the coat found on the tree with the sign? He says, yeah, how do you know that? He says, who do you think got you that, put that sign on the wall? Or put that coat in the park? I always had my eyes on you. I was always taking care of you. The Ribbono Shel Olam said to Klal Yisrael when they said, are we like a divorced wife that we no longer have a relationship? Hashem said, no, you're not like that. I'm not sending you away. I love you every bit as I always did. But because of the relationship that we have and what happened, instead of open miracles, I'm going to protect you in other ways. V'hester panim. I'm going to protect you in ways that you don't always sense me. Everybody in this room is also like a miracle of Purim. Born into your family with your opportunity to be an Eved Hashem, with enough money, some struggle more than others, but enough money to have food. Who's providing it all? The Ribbono Shel Olam takes care of us. He's watching over us, and we'll have great victories. Even in the current war we're in, you can have no doubt we'll have a great victory. Kadosh Baruch Hu takes care of Klal Yisrael. So let's go back to our original questions, Rabbi Isai. We started with a question of, didn't we say Nasa v'nishma? Didn't we freely accept the Torah? The answer is yes, we did freely accept the Torah. But it was like Hashem was holding it over our heads like a mountain, which was not like a mountain, it was like a barrel of intoxication, of drunkenness. And under those conditions we said, we're all in if you're going to have Nevi'im, we're all in if you're going to have miracles. But then fast forward 900 years, and the miracles were all gone. And Klal Yisrael had to re-accept the Torah, mitoch avas hanes, out of their love and recognition that they were living in miraculous times. That you don't need a prophet or frogs to see the Yad Hashem. The Yad Hashem is taking care of us in every generation. And so that's the explanation of why there were 900 years in between. Because for the first 900 years, our acceptance from way back then counted still. Because there were still prophets and miracles. Then we said, we're out. If you're out, we're out. And then we discovered that Hashem was never out. He's still taking care of us. You know, Rabbi Isai, I went to high school in Chicago called Ida Crown Jewish Academy. I don't know, maybe you heard of it. You heard of that school? You know the school? Okay. So I went to high school there. Then I went to Eretz Yisrael after high school. I went to Yeshiva HaKotel. The crazy thing is that I planned on going to a different yeshiva. I only applied to one. My brothers had gone there. I thought it was a shoo-in. I was like really a very, very good student in high school. Shoo-in, I'll get in. Somehow I didn't get in. I only applied to one yeshiva. I didn't get in. So Mina Shemayim, I had an opportunity to go to HaKotel, and I went there. I stayed a second year. In the meantime, in high school, I applied to a certain university that I thought I wanted to go to. I didn't get in. I applied again, early decision. From my first year in Israel, I didn't get in. So I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. I didn't go to that first yeshiva. I didn't go to that college I wanted to go to. It's worse than that even. I had to come back in the middle of the year and I couldn't go back for the end of Shana Bet in Israel. That was a big bummer. But somehow that took me accidentally to spend 2 months in Baltimore. There's a yeshiva in Baltimore, Ner Yisrael, probably you've heard of it. Spent 2 months there. I was on my way to an academic scholarship at NYU. But whatever happened, I decided, this is personal, this may not be about you. I'm just sharing with you my story. I decided when I had accidentally spending 2 months there, a place I never would have gotten to if I got to the first yeshiva, a place I never would have gone to if I got into the university because I would have gone after 1 year. I decided, you know what, even though my parents don't want me to stay here, I'm going to stay in Baltimore. Sorry for another time. And I stayed in Baltimore for 7.5 years. Also went to college on the side. Learned. My wife is uniquely a Baltimore family. I never would have met her, that's for sure. Who's running the show? I was super angry that I didn't get into the yeshiva I wanted to go to. I was super angry that I didn't get into the college I wanted to go. I applied again, early decision, 2 years in a row, I didn't get in. I was pretty miffed that I had to go back in the middle of the year, second year. And there was another opportunity that I didn't mention that I wanted to take and I couldn't do it. But there's somebody running the show. For all of Klal Yisrael, for every individual in Klal Yisrael, we are not like a wife who's been sent away. The Ribbono Shel Olam decided, sometimes I run it this way, and sometimes I run it that way. It's under the protection of HASHEM, and under the miracle and the style of miracle of Purim, that every one of us is committed to serving HASHEM. Our forebears before us accepted, Kiyamu Masha Kiblu Kvar. They fulfilled and they just said, okay, you're going to take care of us like that coat that's on the tree. And I see that you're taking care of me like the coat that's on the tree because I didn't get into that school. And you've got my back. Okay, I'm in. That's the part of the year we're in right now, Rabbi say. That's what every one of us can use the next 5 weeks and even beyond to see the Yad HaShem in our lives, to see how HaShem is miraculously taking care of a people that for thousands of years has been in exile and hated wherever they've gone and small in number, and everybody else who's even similar to us in the smallest way has been wiped out. You never even heard of them, but not us. That's Ribbono Shel Olam. Is all in, just under new terms. And we said on Purim, we're also in under these new terms. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give every one of you easy paths to all that you hope for. But when it's not so easy, know that He is watching over you and directing you and still asking of you that you do your part in learning, you do your part in Shmiras HaMitzvahs, you do your part in being Mekadosh Shem Shamayim, proclaiming that I know that the Ribbono Shel Olam is the master of the universe. Thanks for listening.